In minutes, they had captured 10 machine guns and 15 prisoners. Amazingly, they had sustained no casualties. The rest of the 126th Infantry then attacked the ridge.
My corporal fell dead in my arms, and we stormed the machine gun nest that got him. 15 of us rushed into the deadly sheet of fire, but only 5 reached it. What we did to them, I cannot tell. Private Bernard Williams.
It was almost too good to be true. News came to the effect that the 126th Infantry had breached the Hindenburg Line. General Hahn.
To the right of center, the 128th Infantry were now able to work their way behind the enemy positions. 200 prisoners were quickly taken when they realized they were surrounded.
We've got the Huns on the run. They're blowing up their own ammunition dumps. We're taking lots of prisoners, too. Somebody that talked German asked one of them why he didn't bring the Kaiser along, and he said, "To hell with the Kaiser. We've got enough of the damn war." Charles Bennett, Bugler.
I told Colonel Westnitz that I did not want him to expose himself as to be caught by the enemy's bullets, for I could not afford to lose him. He smiled and said, "They can't get me." General Hahn.
"Where's your colonel?" asked a general officer inspecting the line in the Argonne. "Up ahead," was the answer. "Where's his headquarters?" "Up ahead," repeated the soldier. Always ahead, where the cutting edge of the 32nd Division bit deepest into the enemy resistance, Colonel Westnitz led the attack. Chaplain Dunnigan.
On the left, the 127th Infantry began to move around to the side of the ridge. That night, they ascended to find the remainder of the Côte d'Armorié deserted by the enemy. It would take the 5th and 42nd Divisions 2 more days to reach their objectives. But the decoy division, the 32nd, with the capture of the dominant heights, had already succeeded in decisively cracking the Hindenburg Line.
Colonel Joe came out of the fight with a 10 days beard, blood in his eye, and the whole seat of his trousers missing. Captain Otto K. Booter.
I was advancing through a meadow and carrying my ammunition, and something hit my head. I put my hand up there and I see some blood, and so I knew the war was over for me.
My sympathy is with those whose loved ones have fallen on the fields of France, but they can all know and feel that the men of the 126th who have paid the big price did it with their faces the right way and were taking the fight to the enemy like true Americans. Colonel Westnedge.
Some of those fellows I knew just as well as I knew myself putting there. And this one fella, it was in the shadow of Theory Drive, we were coming back, and they just put you in the hole and put your name on it. I recognized him. He probably never knew what hit him.
I was sent on burying detail. Buried 20 in the first trench, 7 in the next one, and 26 in another. We worked like the deuce. Charles Bennett, Bugler.
Father Dunnigan wrote to the families.
My dear Miss Farrell, this letter was on the body of Corporal Ibbotson, who was killed in action at the front in France. I buried him today. Our men have done valiantly. Some have paid the big price. We must hope and pray for a speedy termination of the war and a better world.
Dear Maggie, this is Sunday night and just about the time that I always came to see you. I wish I was there tonight just to walk in and surprise you. I would like to take a walk down and get some ice cream. It's so long since I've had any that I don't know what it is anymore. With love, George.
Elsewhere, the German army was losing a war of attrition. They had no reinforcements. On fronts with the Belgians, French, and English, they began yielding ground. Sensing the inevitable, the German high command began to press for peace. Though the war would continue for a couple of weeks more, the end was in sight. On October 20th, the 32nd Division was relieved from the Argonne Forest after gaining 8½ kilometers in 21 days of continuous fighting.
A delousing station was established and everyone given the opportunity to obtain a bath and clean underwear. We felt like human beings once more. Captain Ganser.
On November 1st, the 126th Infantry was redeployed in anticipation of a new American offensive, and Colonel Westnedge became ill.
He had been sick during the final days of battle. The regimental sergeant had urged him to go back for rest and treatment. The colonel, who had never used the privileges of his rank, remained with his men. Chaplain Dunnigan.
On November 6th, Colonel Westnedge, who had never missed a day of duty, was ordered to the hospital with a severe cold, aggravated by gas burns he had received earlier. On November 9th, Bugler Bennett was sent to the hospital.
I'm still sick. I ate toast for breakfast. That's all the doc would let me eat the last 3 or 4 days. I've gone as far as I can. So I saw the doctor and got tagged for the hospital.
The 126th Infantry re-entered the front lines. But an agreement between the warring powers had been reached. On the 11th day of the 11th month at 11 a.m., the fighting would cease. On that day at 10:30 a.m., Sergeant Major Percy Baldwin of Grand Rapids became the last battle casualty of the regiment when he was struck by shell fire. A half an hour later, the war ended.
Dear Mother, well, the war is over and we sure are glad. Many things have taken place since the day the war was called off. The Germans come over and trade cigars for our tobacco. They are the happiest bunch you ever saw. The front lines look like a 4th of July celebration. The sky is all lit with flares and stars. You can hear a bunch of Germans singing, then some of our boys. It sure is wonderful. When our band gets through playing, we can hear the Germans cheer from across the river. Private John DeBoer.
Before coming home, the 32nd Division was assigned to occupation duty in Germany. After a long march through France and Luxembourg, the division entered Germany on December 1st. It was while in Germany that word was received that Colonel Westnedge's condition had worsened. He had developed tonsillitis, his breathing became difficult, and on November 26th, he had died.
It struck the regiment like a thunderclap. In every orderly room or billet, in the officers' mess or mess lines, the words and sorrowful tones could be heard. Colonel Joe is dead. Captain Ganser.
Well do I remember the morning the report came to our ears. It was difficult for us to believe that Colonel Westnedge, who had escaped all the dangers of battle, which he had shared unflinchingly with his men and his officers, had died.